Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're tackling something a lot of you have probably thought about, keeping a travel journal.
Right. We all have these amazing trips, and you want to hang on to those memories, don't you?
Exactly, but those vivid moments, they can fade surprisingly fast. So our goal today is to really unpack the value of travel journaling.
And maybe more importantly, how having a good notebook can actually make a huge difference, make it less of a chore.
Yeah, make it enjoyable, part of the adventure itself. We'll be looking at what makes travel journaling work and specifically touching on features like those in Lestalian journals. Lots of travelers find them super helpful.
Absolutely, because look, if you really want to savor your travels, properly recall them later. A dedicated journal isn't just paper. It becomes like a physical link back to those moments.
That makes sense.
Think about it, that specific blue of the ocean, the smell of a market somewhere, laughing with people you just met. Tiny detail.
It's going to evaporate.
So easily lost. And journaling, it gives you a space to consciously grab onto those things, write them down from your angle. It helps lock them in.
Right. And it's not just about looking back, is it? I find knowing I want to write something down later actually makes me, pay more attention while I'm there.
That's a key point. You start noticing the little things.
Yeah. The way a street looks at sunset, maybe a funny sign, stuff like that, it shifts you from just like looking to really seeing. My sister, actually, she went to Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she's usually someone who just breezes through. But she started a travel journal, and she said it totally changed how she looked at the temples, the gardens, all the little details she probably would have missed otherwise.
That's it, that heightened awareness. When you jot down a local phrase or describe some odd custom or even, sketch a quick view, you're processing it differently. There's actually research suggesting that writing about sensory details and feelings strengthens the memory pathways. So you remember it better, richer than just, say, taking a photo. It's often where those little aha moments happen.
Okay, but let's be real. Good intentions often hit a wall when you're actually traveling, right? You're busy, you're tired.
Definitely.
Finding the time is maybe the biggest hurdle I've faced. End of a long day exploring,
Yeah.
sitting down to write. Sometimes it feels like homework.
Or you do write, but it's on.
Anywhere.
Uh-huh.
The back of a receipt and napkin.
Right. A total mess. You
Yeah.
can make sense of it later.
A scattered disaster, which is useless when you get home.
Precisely. Travel days are often just a blur of new stuff, hard to remember specifics, and those notes on scraps, they vanish or you can't even read them.
Yeah.
And that's where, the design of the journal itself really starts to matter. Things like numbered pages seem simple, right? But in something like a Lestalian journal, it adds instant order.
Okay, I can see.
It's not just random scribbles. You're building a story you can actually navigate later.
Oh, the disorganization struggle. I remember backpacking in Southeast Asia. My journal was just like frantic notes on whatever paper I found. Getting home, it was like trying to solve a really bad jigsaw puzzle.
Been there.
And then there's just the practical side. Luggage space is tight. Flimsy notebooks, they just get wrecked. You need something that can, take a beating.
And this leads us right back to why specific features, the kind Lestalian often includes, are so useful. Take that little built-in pocket in the back.
Okay.
Such a simple idea, but brilliant for those little bits you collect: train tickets, museum stubs, maybe a cool leaflet.
Yeah, things you want to keep but don't know where to put.
Exactly. Instead of getting lost in your bag, they have a safe spot inside the journal. Adds another layer to the story and makes it more of a scrapbook, too.
That's clever. And durability, like you said, it's huge. A cover that can handle getting knocked around, like the faux leather Lestalian uses.
Right. It needs to feel solid, protect the pages.
My uncle, he's a wildlife photographer, always takes one on his trips. He swears that sturdy cover has saved his notes from rain more than once.
See? It matters. And size, too. Nobody wants to lug a giant book around.
No way.
That A5 size you often see with Lestalian, it's kind of the sweet spot. Big enough to write in comfortably, small enough to fit in a day pack, or even a big pocket.
So it's actually there when you want to write something down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Accessible.
And okay, for people who actually enjoy the physical act of writing, the paper, that makes a massive difference.
Absolutely.
Lestalian talks about their 120 GSM paper. That thickness, it's noticeable.
It really is. That heavier paper stops ink bleeding through. Big deal if you use different pens, maybe even a fountain pen.
Right. Nothing worse than ghosting on the next page.
It just makes the whole experience nicer, allows you to be a bit more creative maybe.
So these aren't just random features, they're actually thought out solutions.
That's the idea. It turns a basic notebook into a proper travel tool. And it's not just bleed through. The paper in many Listerine journals is often acid-free, wood-free. That means your memories won't yellow or degrade over time.
Ah, longevity. So these are meant to last.
Exactly. These are keepsakes.
And you mentioned durability. The binding matters too, right?
Mm.
I think the Listerine often uses something called Smith's Own binding.
Yes, that's a really good point. It's a traditional method. Instead of just gluing pages, they stitch groups of pages together first, then bind them to the cover.
And that makes it stronger.
Much stronger
Yeah.
and more flexible. The big advantage is the journal lies flat much more easily.
Oh, that's huge. Trying to write in a notebook that keeps snapping shut is so annoying.
Especially if you're on a bumpy train or trying to balance it on your knee, lying flat makes a real difference.
Okay. And little things too, like a ribbon bookmark.
Seems small, but so useful. Find your place instantly. Saves time when you just have a few minutes.
Yeah. And the elastic band to keep it closed.
Keeps everything neat, protects the page edges, holds any loose bits inside that pocket securely. It's all these little thoughtful details adding up.
So when you put all that together, the numbered pages, the pocket, the durable cover, the good paper, the lie-flat binding, the bookmark, it really shows why a purpose-built travel journal works so much better than just grabbing any old notebook.
Absolutely. It's about creating a system that actually helps you capture and keep those experiences.
It makes sense why something like a Listerine journal, focusing on those functional things, appeals to travelers. They're reliable, practical, but still feel quite nice to use.
They give you the structure and the durability you need on the road.
Okay, so let's imagine Lawrence. He's, let's say, an enthusiastic traveler, but maybe a bit disorganized.
I know the type.
His notes are everywhere, phone, napkins, random bits of paper. He goes on this big trip, maybe North America. Total chaos, trying to remember stuff later.
Sounds familiar.
Then he meets someone, let's call her Nora. And Nora has this beautiful, organized, hardcover journal. Maybe a Listerine. It's full of detailed notes, sketches, tickets tucked in.
And Lawrence is inspired.
Totally. He sees how she's captured everything, so he gets himself a proper travel journal. Maybe he picks a Listerine because he likes the numbered pages for sorting things out, and that back pocket seems useful.
Okay.
And he actually starts using it, maybe just a few lines each night. But because it's durable, easy to use, has that nice paper, he sticks with it.
He develops a habit.
Exactly. And now, instead of scattered fragments, he has this cohesive record. He can actually flip through and relive the trip. It's a transformation from chaos to, well, organized memories.
That's a great illustration of the difference it can make. It's not just about the journal, but how the right journal facilitates the habit.
So for listeners who are maybe thinking, okay, I want to try this or I want to get back into it, what are some practical tips, especially thinking about these kinds of useful features?
Well, first off, don't feel pressured to write novels every day. Even with a nice Listerine, just jotting down a few key things works. A highlight, something funny, a cool sound or smell. That durable cover means you can toss it in your bag and grab it whenever.
Use the numbered pages, maybe.
Definitely. You can make a little index at the front or back. Page 10, that amazing meal in Florence. Page 25, funny encounter on the train, makes finding things later so much easier.
And don't just write. That good paper, the 120 GSM stuff.
Exactly. It invites sketches, doodles, little maps. You can paste in ticket stubs or postcards without worrying too much about lumps or ink bleeding through.
Use that back pocket too.
For sure. Collect those little flat mementos and find a pen you enjoy using on that smooth paper. Makes it feel less like a task.
You could even use the numbered pages to create sections, like pages 150 for Italy, 51-100 for France. Or sections for food, people, reflections.
Yeah, absolutely. The structure is there if you want it.
Yeah.
Use the ribbon bookmark to jump between current entries or sections. It's flexible.
So wrapping this up,
Yeah.
it feels clear that a travel journal isn't just, a blank book. It's really a tool.
A powerful one for making trips richer, helping you be more mindful, and creating something tangible to look back on.
And having a journal that's actually designed for the job, like we've seen with the Listerine features, durable, organized, good quality, it just makes the whole process smoother and more enjoyable.
It helps turn those fleeting moments into memories that genuinely last.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you listening. We've talked a lot about travel, but what about everyday life? Think about consistently capturing just small moments, observations, feelings from your daily routine, not just big trips. Could using a dedicated, well-made journal, maybe like a Listerine, transform how you reflect on and remember the ongoing story of your own life day by day, something to maybe mull over?